Hello and welcome back to Allotment Antics. So we're up here again today, and we're going to be looking at these broad beams today. See, we've got rope down this side, but we need to put one up down the other side because they're now starting to get a little bit top heavy and falling over. So we've got everything we need to do that just up here near the polytunnel at the moment. So we've got some more hooked stakes there, the hammer, big basket of rope, and I have a knife and light in my pocket. All will become clear what the light is for shortly. But as we have a quick look around what we've got here, we can see stuff is still growing away nicely in here. Especially these cabbages, they really are shifting now. It's going well in here, apart from one thing. Now our cabbages everything up here, but we've had our first fatality in the tunnel as well. The cucumber just on the corner rope here has decided to keel over and die. All of the runner beans, what were up, have now been moved, which we'll see in a moment. So coming onto this one, I think I'm going to have to re-sow some of these peas, as the pigeons have done too much damage to them. But everything else on here is doing really well now. So you see that the brassicas have recovered nicely from the pigeon damage now. It's getting to the point they need hoeing for the amount of weeds coming up in there at the moment. But that will be a future video probably sorting them out. But the row of peas on the right here is particularly bad, in that most of this end is missing. So we've got net tunnels out here now, and I've put the runner beans under them so they're sheltered from the wind, just to get them used to the outside climate. We've got one of these green tunnels that's free with the magazine subscription. Everything over here is growing nicely, as we can see. Still got a couple of rows of spuds not quite through properly yet, but they're getting there. Particularly that row for some reason. We've got some pickling onions now coming through here. I noticed some one, but the beetroot are coming through quite nicely this end, but not so the other end. Gladiola are just leaping along now, growing really quickly. And as we can see down here, got these cabbages uncovered and having to give them some water. And I've given the raspberries all a good soaking. The Glen Ample here, I've had 28 litres of water down here, 4 canfuls. As have these 2 rows of Autumn Bliss. So this row needs looking at come the autumn, just bulking up with some suckers out of this one. This has to be the best row of Autumn Bliss because that's the least disturbed when I moved all the excess canes away from here. But I'm keeping them plenty of water every other day there. Got a few more bits and pieces coming up in here. The Romanesco courgettes are now starting to come up. I've put a few special squashes in this morning. Aubergines are mostly all up now as well in there. But now we need to head over and do the beans. So we've got the 4 stakes here. It's going to get a bit noisy here when I was knocking these in. So I have got bigger hammers, but this is the only one I've got up here at the moment. Also a sensible size. It's plenty good enough for banging these in down here. So put 4 in down there again. Put them in the ground about 12 inches or so, or 30 centimetres for those who like metric. Shouldn't be too much weight on them, lean on them, but they are a bit flexible, these stakes. They're designed for use with the orange barrier fence. And there's fencing pins, but they came from the boundary fence between these 2 allotments this side when I took the tin down. Ground is fairly wet when you get into it still, so not knocking in too badly on here. This one's the hardest one to get in. You have to wait till a decent time of day to knock these in, as I caused a bit of problem the other week up here whacking a post in at 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning. The blinds and curtains flew up and on the house adjoining my third allotment, the one with the brassicas on, and sort of turned my back and ignored them. But never mind, 10 o'clock in the morning is plenty late enough. So we've got the rope here. The end of that has been melted with a lighter. That's what it's for, to stop it falling apart and fraying. So just pull it out down there. I mean, this rope is quite cheap really. So only 300 meters in the coil there. Because it's UV stabilised, it doesn't tend to degrade in the sunlight as string does. So tie it to the end stake first, bring it back along to the next one, just loop it around there and pull it tight. Do the same with this one. And then we just need to cut it down this end, finding which pocket I left my knife in. So the knife is getting a bit blunt now. 2 slices and it's through. So we just melt the ends with the lighter. It's a fairly still day today, so I haven't got to worry about the wind blowing the lighter out, which is an improvement over the last time I've done it. It's hard to find somewhere sheltered. That just stops the ends fraying as we tie them up and everything. It holds the 3 plies of rope together. So we get that fairly tightly on there. Of course the rope will be reusable year after year for various things on here. I mean, the first 2 rows of rope I put up were also to keep my little spaniel off here, because he kept using it as a shortcut. So dual purpose. So we'll do the same with this one. The banging you can hear in the background is one of the neighbours putting a new roof on their shed, which disappeared a little bit during the winter. So we'll do the same all the way down, just looping it around these canes as we come, or stakes. Do we see any beans sort of up the wrong way, we'll just pull them under. Then do the same again, cut it and melt it. Try not to burn my fingers in the moment. I've got a rather nasty burn on the side of one of my fingers where some molten nylon rope dropped onto it. Polypropylene, whatever you want to call it. So I heated it up a bit too much. That'll just stop the broad beams from falling over then. Sort of borderline as to whether I need to spray these again, unfortunately, for insect damage at the moment. Don't want to spray more than we have to, but the pea and bean weevils are doing quite a bit of damage to some of these at the minute. So you can see we've got that down there now, not too worried about the stakes being upright. Let's see, there's 3 different varieties. This second variety has to be the tallest. I mean, the first one's Aquadulce. I think the second one was Whitcomb, and the third one down the other end I haven't got a clue because there's seed left in the shed here by the previous tenant. Got boxes full of stuff in there. So our next one is to tie some of these tomato plants in what are just starting to fall over. Not all of them need doing yet, but just 1 or 2. So could use cable ties for this. Just very loosely put them round to hold them up. Once they get going a bit more, I'll probably twist them around the rope as I go, but I just need to hold them there for now. There's probably 4 or 5 need doing down here. It's fairly warm in this tunnel this morning, even with both doors open. Not as warm as the greenhouse gets, but still fairly warm. So 1 or 2 of these getting to the point where you pinch the side shoots out, but I may be doing something with them. A little trick I've learnt many years ago. I think out of all of them, the Moneymaker are probably the bulkiest at the moment. Just a couple this end to do. I mean, by the time I've got down this end where I am now, I'm getting fairly warm doing this. But I would be lost without this tunnel now, especially with everything what's going on in the world at the moment. It's giving me somewhere to get to every day up here. So that's all of them done. And obviously the cable ties can be undone and reused if we're careful. So we have a look at them now. You can see particularly these Moneymaker. The good thing with these, if we look here, we've got our first flower buds now coming in here. So it won't be long before they need their first feeds. But that is all we're going to be doing on this video up here today. That's the technical pot the camera sits in, so I ain't got a tripod. But for now, I'm going to say thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.